Hello, Professor Morgan here with some insight on plot twists when we are writing stories. What is a plot twist? What is not really a plot twist? What are some things that are okay and what things are not okay? So we're going to look at kind of the definition of a plot twist, kind of the theory behind it, and show you some examples of what to do and what not to do. So let's get right to it, shall we? All right, so basically the plot twist is a story development that readers do not expect, in which either something shocking happens or something shocking is revealed. Okay, now again, this is a very broad definition of a plot twist. But basically, it's like, what? Oh my goodness, wow. And sometimes it's one of the cooler parts of the story. And it's like, what is going on? Now, okay, there's ways to do this right and ways to do this not right. And sometimes it's, like beauty's in the eye of the beholder, So we'll just kind of go through these. All right, so let's look at one of them. Again, big spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen some of these movies or such. Okay, so at the end of the original Planet of the Apes, um, the character played by Charlton Heston realizes that the quote unquote, alien planet that he landed on was actually Earth. And he discovers the Statue of Liberty. He goes, this is where, he thinks he's on a foreign planet, but he's not. It's like, oh my gosh, he was on Earth the whole time, in the future. So, and he was not happy with it. Yeah. Anyway, so that would definitely be a plot twist. Okay. The movie Psycho. Okay, again, plot twist. So early in the movie, at the Bates Motel, a young lady is murdered. It appears to be an older lady that's murdering whatever. Norman Bates, who's, whatever, he's talking to his mother. Turns out that he's the killer. We find out at the end. So that's the big plot twist there. Okay. Okay, The Sixth Sense. So this is one where, you know, one of the famous lines from this movie is you got the actor here, I think it's Haley Joel Osment, says, you know, his sixth sense is that he can see dead people. And he's talking to the character played by Bruce Willis. And it's not really revealed to the end of the movie. So Bruce Willis plays like a child psychologist, and he's trying to work with this kid, but Bruce Willis doesn't realize he's dead, and so that's the big twist at the end. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm the one that's dead, and he sees me because I'm dead, but we don't know that. Okay, and then the Wizard of Oz. Okay, MTM, it was just a dream, and you were there, and you were there, and you were there, and oh, so again, you could argue whether this is really a dream or not. But the way that kind of sets it up is like, that that Dorothy was, her whole experience in Oz was nothing but a dream. But anyway, so that's kind of the plot twist there. Okay, so now there are certain criteria for a plot twist that you should consider when you are crafting one as a writer. Okay, first, it must be narratively sound, meaning that it needs to follow. Okay, there's it's like as you have your narrative going, as you have your story going, um, it needs to be. I think I'd say I call it playing within the sandbox. As you've established your story, you're playing within the sandbox. Now, what you do inside the sandbox is whatever is fine. But let's say you're writing a story that takes place in modern day North Carolina, and it's about a character who works at a bank, and he discovers that the bank is doing all sorts of unethical things, and he's trying to be a whistleblower. And okay, so let's say that's the whatever, and then the plot twist is that at the very end you find out that actually Attila the Hun has come back from the dead, and he's riding his T-Rex, and he's got his laser gun, and he's forcing the leaders of the bank to do this unethical thing. Um, that would certainly be a plot twist. Is it narratively sound? No. That is not narratively sound. Okay. It must be unexpected. Okay. If you see it coming a mile away, then that's not cool. Because then it's not really a twist. That's the kind of the whole point of the plot twist is it needs to be unexpected. So, so again, let's say same premise. You have this banker, and he wants to be this whistleblower, and but he's afraid of getting fired, and he needs to, provide for his family. They were depending on him, and let's say he's got a child that was, with medical needs, and so he needs his medical, you know, uh, insurance to take care of the child, but he's got to do what's right. And the big plot twist at the end is that he calls the ethics line, and he calls, like the newspapers, and he gets the big people in trouble. Well, that's not really unexpected. I mean, that's kind of what the whole story's been leading up to. Okay, so there's that. Now, it might be foreshadowed, and actually, the better stories that use plot twists have a hint that it might happen. So if we go back to, let's say, the plot twist for Psycho, okay, um, as we learn more about the character of Norman Bates, there's something off about him. He's not. It's clearly there's clearly something not. The tower. The elevator's not going all the way to the top. This is not playing with a full deck. He's not the sharpest knife in the you know in the drawer or whatever you want to do. There's something off about him, and so you sense that through it, but you don't necessarily, the audience may not realize just how far gone he is until it's revealed that he's the killer. So there's that. So let's talk about some things to avoid. And one of them is Deus Ex Machina. And I absolutely butchered how to pronounce that. Okay, but what does this even mean? Okay, so it is Latin for God from the machine. Now, in writing, this is something that should be avoided at all costs, because it's considered cheap. It's basically, we talk about, it not being narratively sound, or it could be unexpected, absolutely, but it may not be foreshadowed. So, but it's basically when the plot twist comes out of nowhere and doesn't really make any sense. I mean, it's like, really? I mean, there's like a big plot hole here. So I'm going to get a little controversial here on some of these examples, but oh well, what are you going to do? So one of them is Lord of the Rings. Okay, so in Lord of the Rings, there's, the main, you know, the whole thing is that Frodo is trying to take the ring to Mount Doom to destroy it. Okay, and he's got to go through Mordor to get to whatever. And him and Samwise, they eventually get there, and yes, the ring is eventually destroyed. But now it looks like there's no way they're going to be able to get home. But then here come the Eagles, and and they come and save them and bring them back. Well, why didn't they just take the Eagles in the first place? And there's you know, some conspiracy theories that if you're familiar with the movies or the books, when Gandalf, he gets he tells him, "Fly, you fools!" just before he falls into the battle the Balrog. He's actually trying to tell them, "Look, you idiots, don't walk to Mordor. Don't walk through Mordor. Fly." Okay. Again, is that actually the truth? Okay, I don't know, but it's kind of like, why didn't they fly in? Okay, there doesn't seem to be a good reason for that. Anyway, that's good. A lot of folks consider that to be a Deus Ex Machina. Okay, Jurassic Park. Okay, so for those of you who've seen Jurassic Park, at the very end, so if you can look down here, you see the raptors. The raptors are the smaller dinosaurs, which are like, ooh, scary as mess. And they're chasing the main characters around, and it looks like they've got them cornered just towards the end. And they're so you don't see the main characters standing right here, but they've got like one raptor here and one raptor here. All hope is lost. There's no way they're going to survive. And then out of nowhere, here comes this T-Rex, and he grabs one of the one of the raptors. Okay, why didn't the T-Rex go after the people? We've seen the T-Rex eat people earlier in the movie. Why the T-Rex? Why is he protecting the people? Is it just random chance? And why does he happen to be there right at that exact moment? Yeah, that's kind of a Deus Ex Machina. Okay, And then way back in the day, back in the 70s, the Superman movie, the first Superman movie that had Christopher Reeve in it. Again, if you haven't seen this, a little bit of a spoiler alert. Um, he at the end of the movie, um, there's this you know big disaster on the earth, whatever, and Lois Lane ends up dying. She ends up getting crushed in a car, in a fissure, and he's not cool with that at all. So what does he decide to do? He decides to fly so fast, he flies backwards. So he reverses the orbit of the Earth to have time go back in time so that he can actually save her. Okay? Well, the problem with that is, when did we know that he could do this? And why doesn't he do this anytime something goes wrong? There's a lot of stuff that goes wrong. It just came out of the blue. It was like, oh, isn't this cool isn't it amazing he has this ability that we had no idea that he could do? And isn't it convenient that he can do it to save the day? So, yeah, there's that. So, again, as a reminder, for a plot twist, it must be narratively sound. It must be unexpected, and it might be foreshadowed. And I would say the best plot twists are foreshadowed, so you actually are still shocked as a viewer or a reader, yet it doesn't come out of nowhere. It is something that is plausible, I would say. Okay, and there is your insight on plot twists.